major media globally, such as Times, Wall Street Journal, ZDNet, CIO, The Straits Times, and Channel News Asia. We welcome you, sir.
So that's quite a long list, but you know, I'm sure all you are pumped up when you heard about the news of a hack. You know, that has been something that I've not dealt with for a long time since I was part of a hacking group like 25, 30 years ago. A lot of my peers that went on and they left security. Some of them found a company called WhatsApp, and I found a company called Nexus Software. I think one of them you might like him a lot because he found this software called Mmap. But anyway, that was my hacking group many years ago, 25, 30 years ago. And today, I'm actually advocating a different thing altogether. I'm actually advocating cloud security together with a lot of my peers from that day. In those days where you have portals, IRC servers, chat lines that are really catered for the security guys. But today, I don't think you really find that, right? So what I'm going to share with you in the next 10 minutes is really some trends that the Cloud Security Alliance is actually seeing this happening in the worldwide space. So I'll be very quick about it, right? So just now we heard about virtualization. We heard about NextGen talking about their virtualized data center. They're selling data center in a box. So when we talk about server virtualization, it's something that has been around for a long time. It's very mature, and it's something that at least I would say that is in existence for at least 15 to 20 years. So definitely it's something that it's high time that we put the standards around that. So the CSA right now is working with ISO to develop an ISO standard on virtualized server virtualization security. We just had a meeting under the auspices of Data Security Council of India in October back in Jaipur. We held a successful SC27 meeting, and we do have some approval to proceed ahead towards creating that standard. But more so, what I'm trying to tell you is that that's not the end of virtualization. Okay? In fact, we are seeing a return on the interest of virtualization technologies, new technologies that are being developed right now. That's creating new companies that make use of software-defined network, okay, or virtualized network, VF, virtualized function network components to develop new applications like Docker system, right? And Docker, the appearance of Docker in the industry actually helps to elevate the demand for PaaS. Because previously, nobody can actually see and tell what kind of use is PaaS. Most people will know SaaS is useful because you just subscribe to it, you log in, you get your service. But PaaS is something that a lot of time when we did our survey, every year we have an annual survey of cloud maturity, and it comes out short for PaaS, where SaaS is actually entering a mature phase right now. So for PaaS, it's actually right now enjoying a renaissance and enjoying a revival of fortune when new technologies, new virtualized technology that is being built right now are actually helping to push for the case of PaaS. So in fact, the CSA has a virtualization working group that has been started since the start of CSA, in fact, because virtualization is a key component of cloud computing. But in recent years, we reinitiate and recompose the whole team. And at the next meeting at RSA in February, we're going to reconvene a meeting that look at the future of virtualization in the area of NFC, NFV, in the new areas of SDN, and where we're going to lead stuff from here. So if you do have the fortune to attend RSA conference, come for the CSA summit, come for the CSA working group meetings, you should be able to experience firsthand how you're going to develop standards for virtualizations of tomorrow as CSA look into defining solutions for problems today so that you can use it immediately. We also seen a trend that is looking at the creation of the intermediary. So today, when you have multiple SaaS services in your company, especially when we talk about, any small and medium enterprises, you used to buy a lot of different SaaS software that will manage your HR demand, your accounting and financial stuff, or even your sales, to manage your sales relationship, customer relationship. So all these SaaS application by itself, I mean, they have their own security configuration, they have their own way of managing identity. All is good until you put everything together. So as a company, you need to have a coherent, top-down security strategy that applies for the whole of your infrastructure, whether we're talking about all this software, whether we're talking about the actual hardware, but you need to have one policy that's applied for all. But do you think that policy will work on a Salesforce as much as it works on a QuickBooks? So the answer is no, and that's the reason why the industry is thinking of an intermediary, and Gartner called this intermediary the cloud security access broker. So today we are seeing a lot of companies today, like Sky High Network, like Cypher Cloud. A lot of them are proud Indian-born companies that are coming into this space as cloud security access brokers. So the CSA is right now developing the APIs for cloud security access brokers, and feel free to join our security working group. So by now, after 2 tracks, you notice that I keep on talking about CSA and CSA research. So just to fill it up on CSA is that one of the things that we always do is really to be the think tank. The think tank where the security hacking group that I used to be with, provide in the early 2000s, where we testify to the Pentagon, where we testify to various experts committees that, the security is weak. We can just use 5 seconds to hack the entire internet, right? So today, the CSA is looking to play the role at the enterprise level, as well as to be the intermediary that bridge the enterprise with the governments as well as the academia worldwide to see that we can come up with a holistic approach to resolve the issue of insecurity in the cloud. And of them, at any one time, we will be conducting a lot of 20 to 25 research on different topics. And all these topics will dovetail into our different programs that we're running. Programs that look at provider certification, user certification, programs that look at providing international standardizations, programs that look at providing alignment to national policies, programs that look at promoting innovation, creating that incubation for startups. Okay, something that me and my colleagues, especially a lot of my old comrades, we always do that. So the intermediary cloud security access broker is one of the key things that we're developing right now, the APIs. So the good thing is all these research working group, you can join for free individually, right? So you can join and help to contribute in a good way to build all these APIs, to build all these standards, best practices, so that it can be consumed by everyone worldwide. So we talk about, the development in the industry that's pushing towards rapid, agile development, right? So a lot of times today, we are seeing that things get onto the web even before it went to a testing phase. There's no pilot testing in between. So in the past, when we develop a lot of applications, you normally will put in a pilot test site, run for some time, maybe with the current system concurrently to see whether is it stable. But today, this is being cut short because this is wasting a lot of time. Because time to market is actually all money and dollar and cents. So if we are slow to push this out in the market, we will have an issue with meeting the numbers on a quarterly basis, especially for those that venture back. Every quarter, you have to meet the numbers. And you must be profitable right from the first quarter, right? For those that are funded by my venture funds, I make sure that they are profitable in the first quarter. So this phenomenon of rapid prototyping, as well as pushing it out as soon as it's got developed without any testing. It's called DevOps. And we are seeing that DevOps is creating some kind of process that requires security to be implemented real time. Like those guys that did over there, the ncdrc guys, real time addressing the issues like a hack. So DevSecOps is something that we are seeing that is being created right now. And it leads towards certain things like information sharing, which is getting a big issue today because we are not seeing information being shared at the right time with the right people in the right place. And that's the reason why back in April this year in US, President Obama issued the second cybersecurity executive order, which demand cloud service provider to share information to preempt any attack. So the CSA is building DevSecOps into this whole process. We are creating a cloud CISC, Cloud Incident Security Sharing Center, that will address the issue. And one of the things that we created is an anonymizer that allows companies, individuals to submit reports, and you can totally anonymize the information, so you won't know that where it comes from, which is the key concern today by the legal counsel, because if you want to share, most likely, technically, we can do it, but your legal counsel will stop you from doing that. That's what's happening to major ISPs today. And for CSA, we are seeing that because, like what Dr. Ahmad have told you, the CSA, we have a membership base of over 300 enterprises worldwide. And this comprises of the top providers, the Google, the Microsoft of the world. Okay? We're also seeing a lot of the enterprises like the Bank of America, Citibank, the Walmart, the Coca-Cola of the world, that is part of our members, that is demanding that they have the capability to preempt an attack. And that's the reason why we are restarting this project, to pay special attention to anonymization. And today it's being used, okay, it's being used to support the Obama cybersecurity executive order in the US. And right now, we are talking to various governments in this region to see how this thing can be deployed in APAC. So you feel that you want more information about cloud incident security sharing center, or you want to just to know about CSA's incident response best practices, forensic guidelines. These are some of the projects that we have done in the past, and the white papers is available for download for free as well. Just go to our website. You'll find a treasure trove of information over there. So down to the last trend that we are seeing that is very prevalent worldwide is that government is demanding for transparency, accountability for everything they are seeing. Right? They want their vendor to demonstrate the transparency and accountability that will build trust. Trust that when the government moves to the cloud, their information, especially citizens' information, will remain safe. And that's the reason why the CSA pay a lot of attention over the years to create a flagship program that we call CSA STAR, okay, based on the open certification framework that we have developed that offer 3 levels of different assurance, 3 levels of different applications as well, right? From self-assessment to third-party to system built-in continuous assessment. And we are building new products for 2016 based on the CSA STAR certification scheme. In fact, we are extending it to other aspects of application on the cloud, like, for example, mobile. So this year in APAC, we are leading a piece of work on mobile application security testing, right? So for those applications that get into your Play Store, App Store, these are not likely to be safe at all, because internally, Apple and Google doesn't specify that they need to security test every single application before it got into the store. So what happened? You may actually download a legitimate application from the Play Store or the App Store, but you still got affected by malware still. And this is very prevalent, not in US, but in APAC, because APAC got the most mobile application proliferation. Look at China. Every day, there are more than 1,000 new apps being hosted on their store, in 360 in Baidu. So when we were presenting our MAST project last week at our own APAC Congress, which Dr. Amar have the privilege to be our invited keynote speaker, we saw that the government cyberspace administration were very interested to see how we can take this further to implement it in China. And we are having conversation with Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, Australia, and New Zealand as well. So this is something that we are building in 2016, mobile app security certification, and IoT and devices certification as well. But today, provider, okay, like the Microsoft, Azure of the world, today a lot of them have actually subscribed to CSA Star. Right? Even for government procurement process, in European Commission, in their tender for procurement of cloud services, they specify that CSA Star is a minimum requirement. So if you don't have Star, you cannot serve the EC. And in Singapore, they use the multi-tier cloud security, national security standard to certify their provider that can serve the government. And in that MTCS standard, it mentioned a cross-recognition to CSA Star. That means that if you got Star, you can also deliver in Singapore. And we are building similar things in other countries. We have developed a Chinese version of Star that we call C-Star with the Ministry of Industry and IT in China. And this is being rolled out in China for all Chinese firms. Companies as large as China Mobile is certified to it. China Mobile, Alibaba, Huawei. And right now we're developing this together with the PMO office in Japan to get this thing done in cross-recognition with other standards that are prevailing in the market, like ISO 27001:17, which incidentally was actually mooted and developed and created by CSA back in 2010 at ISO. So with that, thank you very much for your attention. For interested parties, this is my contact details, and you can also visit our Facebook. Just go to Facebook and search for Cloud Security Alliance Asia Pacific. You should be able to find a lot of information about activities and events down there. So we are launching our event list for next year, and we are thinking of bringing the APAC Congress to India in 2016. So the APAC Congress is an annual event, gala event that sums up the year. So for the first year, we did it in Singapore. The second year, we did it in Taiwan. This year, we do it in China, and next year is the year of India. And I believe that